Yahuah is saying, therefore I will deliver you no more. He's once again, he's fed up time and time again. It was the same old thing. And he told them, I will deliver you no more. You wonder why in the law he put, when you go into the lands of the Gui, far away from my Kadash land, a land where the people, their tongue you will not understand. Now you understand what Deuteronomy 28, and I brought this out before, what the law says. He says you will be sold to your enemies, male and female slaves, and no one will buy you. No one will buy you. No one will redeem you. No one will deliver you. You see, even himself, he's saying, I will not deliver you. And we see time and time all through scripture, he got the people out of the trouble, and then the people got right back into trouble, and they continue to turn away from him, to serving other mighty ones, till he said enough, until he scattered us all over the earth. And this is why you see him saying, I will not deliver you. I will deliver you no more. That's why now you understand Zechariah 2:7, that now you understand it says, deliver yourself, you who dwell with the daughter of Babylon. So you have to connect the dots. He delivered us so many times till he just scratches his head. He says, no more, no more. He's shaking his head, no more. I'm not delivering you. You deliver yourself out of these lands. This is what it's saying. Deliver yourself, you who dwell with the daughter of Babylon. Now, I forgot to bring out a point. Let me go back. I forgot to bring out a point on cry. The noun, a loud, inarticulate shout. So understand, not only this cry is loud, it's inarticulate. It's nothing that you're doing in a, a formal way. This is something that's informal. You're not speaking articulate words. You are in distress. And this is the reason you are not speaking articulate words. It's inarticulate. You're screaming. You're shouting. I want to make sure we understand that. Okay. Nehemiah 9:4. Here we have 8 men on the stairs. It says, stood on the stairs of the Levites and cried out with a loud voice. This cry out was with a loud voice. We cannot get away from crying out to him with a loud voice. Crying out to Yahuah, their Elohim. It must be a cry out of a loud voice. Nehemiah 2:28. But after they had rest, they again did wrong. They did evil before him. So you see time and time again. And even though he said, I will not deliver you, listen, when they returned, we notice what happened in that story. When they returned to him in Judges, when they returned to him, they put away those mighty ones. And when you put away the other mighty ones, when you put away what you want to do, you turn to his Torah, you keep his commandments, you keep everything you can keep. You're keeping his word, you're keeping his commandments, and he cannot take it. He must hear your cry. You understand, he must. After all they did, they continued. They left off their mighty ones, and they turned back to him, and they listened to his voice, and they did what he said he's going to. They did what he told them to do, and he had no other alternative but to turn back to his people, because he loved his people that much, even though they're hard-headed, stiff-necked, make him hot. There's always a remnant that will turn to him and love him, and he will love them back. It says they did evil again before him. It says, therefore you left them in the hand of their enemies, so that they had dominion over them. Yet when they returned and cried out to you, you heard from heaven. And many times you delivered them according to your, listen, this is how he have so much, when they cry out to him, he gives so much favor to his people once they return. He turned their sad situation around, and he just deliver in his tender kindness, he deliver his favor back unto his people. This is what it's saying many times. We can't name the times. It's too many times he delivered the people once they returned to him. It says, return and heard the cry from heaven. This is what we need. When you keep his commandments, when you keep his Torah, and you cry out to him, he will hear you. I told you, he cannot stand it. He must. This is all we need. If we do our part, he will do his part. And when he do his part, he's going to deliver us out of those impossible situations that many of us are in today. Psalms 22:5. They cried to you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed. This is what happens when you cry out to him. He will deliver you. And we have to trust in him. And you will not be put to shame. This is what the scripture is saying. They cried unto you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed. We must trust in him with all our heart, lean not to our own understanding. Psalms 107:13. Then they cried out to Yahuah in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. Notice, distresses with an S on it. Once we will have many distresses. We will have many trouble. We are right now barking upon Jacob's trouble. And we will see many trouble and many distress. Now, let me go ahead and make a point here while I'm mentioning Jacob's trouble. If you do not make it within his borders, and you do not make it within the wilderness, and you get stuck in Jacob's trouble, you will need to cry out to him. Now, he's not going to save you out of Jacob's trouble the way you think he is, because you're in it. Remember, power given unto the beast to make war with them and overcome them and kill them. But you will have to have enough belief to be able to be righteous unto death. And you will need, this is what you will need. You will need to be righteous unto death. It says he cried out to them in their trouble, and trouble will come. And he saved them from their distresses, many distresses. Psalms 107:19. Then they cried out to Yahuah in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. I'm sorry, I just read that one. Psalms 142:1-5. I cried out to Yahuah with my voice. We must cry out with our voice, a loud voice. With my voice to Yahuah and make my supplications. I pour out my complaint before him. See, you have a complaint. Don't complain to man. Don't complain to people. Complain before him. I declare before him my trouble. You take your troubles to him, and he will deliver you from your troubles. When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then you knew my path. See, he knows the way we should go. He knows our righteous path. In the way in which I walk, they have secretly set a snare for me. Here are the wicked ones. Here are the rebels. Here are those that come around starting troubles, trying to trick people up and throw people off. You see, they're putting snares before you. They're putting stones before you that you may stumble, because you will stumble if you don't diligently do your study, if you don't diligently seek him, if you don't cry out to him. There will be those right there to make you stumble. 4 says, look on my right hand and see, for there is no one who acknowledges me. Refuge has failed me. You have no refuge. Listen at this. No one cares for my soul. I told you over and over, this is what the scripture is saying. We are on our own. We can't trust in no camp, no man, no one. We have to trust in him with all our heart and lean not to our own understanding, lean not to man, lean not to camp, lean not to pastor, lean not to preacher, lean on no one, lean on him. And this is what this video is about. It's teaching you how to lean on him, how to cry out to him, how to get his attention, how to get him to move on your behalf, that he may work, that he may do his plan, what he have for you. Verse 5, I cry out to you, O Yahuah. I said, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. I will not, this in the land of the living Make sure you understand that when death going to be all in the earth, the land of the living will be in one place and one place only. In this land of the living, those that are within his borders, within the wilderness, this would be at that time the land of the living. And of course, Jerusalem, after it gets rebuilt, will be considered the land of the living. Okay, Joel 1 and 14. Joel 1 and 14, we know this scripture. It says, consecrate a fast, call a Kadash assembly, call a set apart assembly, gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land into the house of Yahuah your Elohim, and cry out to Yahuah. So when this gathering, make sure you understand, this gathering is a Kadash gathering. It's those set apart gathering. There are no rebels within this gathering. You can't have rebels in this gathering. The people will be on one accord. This is what Yahushua prayed. He prayed that Yasharal be one. Be one. One as in agreement. Do you think we're going to get all these camps to agree? No way. They will never agree. So this is a problem. This is a reason that we can't call ourselves a sect. It's just one particular group, and we're part of this group. Let me tell you, his plans, Yahuwah's plan is bigger. It's bigger than any camp, anything anyone have today in the earth. You have these churches. They call themselves churches. Listen, he's bigger. He's bigger than these churches that have all of these people that's all these pastors that's bringing no word, no scripture, but they're just talking and tickling the ears of the people and making them feel good. But here we're saying, call assembly, call a fast, gather the elders, all the inhabitants of the land. See, so Gui will be there. So you see, Gui going to be part of this gathering into the house of Yahuwah and cry out to him. We gathered together to cry out to him. Who is doing this today? Who's gathered together today to cry out to him? Hosea 7 and 14. Here are those rebels. It says, this is what we're to call together this assembly to cry out to him. But the rebels will not cry out to him. Listen to this. They did not cry out to me with their heart when they wailed upon their beds. So they wailing upon their beds. They will be in distress, and they did not cry out to him. They assembled together for grain and new wine. They rebelled against me. Now, why did they assemble for grain and new wine? They're still trying to keep something that they were not supposed to keep. Here we are in strange lands. We just coming out of the season of the Passover. Here you're having people, after knowledge done went forth, they're still trying to keep Passover in the land of their captivities, regardless of what Scripture says. You see, these people, they don't care what the Scripture says. They don't care the fact that we're supposed to bring our lamb to the priest. They don't care about this stuff. They want to do it their way. They didn't raise them lambs. Get a lamb of a year old. They didn't raise these lambs. They don't know if these lambs spots. They don't know if they are deformed. They have no idea. These lambs, this is wickedness. This is their own feast. And when they continue this, they will be responsible for doing this mess. But listen, there's a price to pay for the things that we do. This is Isaiah 30 and 19. Listen to what it says. For the people shall dwell in Zion. It's telling us where the people are going to dwell, in Zion. Our mind is not on Zion today. Our mind is on what we're doing in our land of our captivity, doing what we want to do, waiting on him to deliver us. The people shall dwell in Zion. At Jerusalem, you shall weep no more. When this happened, there will be weeping no more. He will be very favorable for you at the sound of your cry. When he hears it, he will answer you. So at the sound of your cry in Jerusalem, when he hear it, he will answer you. This is a promise.